Hi, how you doing? Yes, my name's Mark. Nice to meet you. Yes, I am your um your guy who's gonna help you out with the stocks here in Los Santos. Yeah. Yeah, so if you don't know, stocks is a great way to earn money here in Los Santos. Um yeah, it's great. So welcome to my office. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna look at the LCN, the Liberty City National Exchange Index. And then after, we're going to look at Bawsaq. Uh, okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to kind of talk about all the businesses, give a brief description of them that the website gives, and at the end, we'll kind of see what you want to invest in. All right? All right, so let's start with LCN, the Liberty City National Exchange Index. So we start here with Animal Arc. This is a national chain of all natural pet food stores because half the world is starving, but Fido only eats organic. That's their little funny tagline. So we got Animal Arc. Okay. Yeah. Next up we have Augury Insurance. Insurance company primarily focused on automobile coverage. Okay. Known for its incredibly active billing department and incredibly inactive claims department. That's kind of what they're infamous for. Alright. Next up we have one of probably my favorite coffee shop in Los Santos. People are always, oh, bean machine this, bean machine that. No, I like Cool Beans. National chain of coffee houses. The opening of a Cool Beans is one of the first indicators that the death of a neighborhood's cultural identity is imminent. Next up, of course, is Bean Machine. Coffee house chain taking over the world, one tiramisu Guncachino at a time. Alright, next up we have is Burger Shot. America's favorite national quick service factory farmed restaurant chain and shining beacon of global march towards cultural homogenization. Okay, then we have Bilkington. Makers of Priapol, Blinkton are a relative newcomer to the pharmaceutical market, fast catching up with the competition both in reported profits. So Blinkton is a fast rising pharmaceutical company. Yeah, you're interested. That's one of the things you're interested in as a pharmaceutical company, investing in their stocks. It's smart. Yeah. Then we have Bank of Liberty, multinational banking corporation that made billions out of bankrupting the American people. Because banks, we love banks. This, of course, originated in Liberty City, this bank. Went bankrupt themselves, then got the American people to bail them out. Classy. I added that in myself because that's exactly what they did. Next up is one of the best hair salons in all of Los Santos. Bob Moulet. French stylist Bob Moulet has dedicated the last 4 decades to turning himself into a global brand and TV personality, and occasionally cutting hair. You know, Moulet doesn't really cut the hair anymore. Next up is Bullhead, the law firm that promises to win cases at any cost to the client. Okay. Next up is the world famous fast food chicken corporation, Cluck and Bell. A global chain of fast food restaurants specializing in deep fried chicken flavored slabs of salt and fat and chicken. Next up is Debonair. Manufacturer of tobacco products marketed at the more sophisticated smoker, whoever that is. Next up is Dollar Pills. Large nationwide pharmacy chain, energy drinks, cigarettes, beers, painkillers, and all other ingredients all under one roof. It's basically like a big grocery store almost. Next up is E. Cola, the famous soda beverage company. The world leader in the manufacture and marketing of a sugary caffeinated beverage that will turn 8-year-olds into manic fatzos, like all of Los Santos and, well, they're not as bad, Liberty City. But yeah, next up is Air Emu, major international airline that has taken all the fun out of flying by monetizing every last detail of travel experience, from the peanuts to the restrooms. Air Emu. Next up is Fleesa. The Fleesa card is the high interest loan that keeps on giving. They have, of course, their shark cards, the Fleesa shark cards, very popular right now. Credit cards. And of course, there's also Fleesa Bank, which they own as well. Here's another airline company. This is one of the most popular ones in all of America. Fly US. A once great American airline, now left with a fleet of aging death traps that they can no longer afford to repair or safety check. Home of the vinegary old hags and bitter fruit flight attendants. Someone on this site does not like Fly US. This is Gastroband. The Gastroband is the world-leading quick-fix surgical solution to weight loss and portion control. Okay, it's the weight loss brand. Yeah. Next up is Gold Coast. Los Santos-based real estate developer that specializes in converting historic buildings into soulless condos that 99% of the population can't afford. It's true. Next up is Go Postal. Of course, it's a courier service. They say here, a global courier service company that will deliver anything, anytime, except for customer service, because their customer service is infamously bad. Next up is Group Sex. Group Sex provides private security services and offers failed cops a second chance to enforce the law on their own terms. Okay, so it's a security company. Next up is Hammerstein and Faust. Slip and fall into the good life with a top employment law firm in all of San Andreas. Yeah, law firm company. Next up is Hijack, American automaker, famous for creating one of the world's first production plug-in hybrid cars that is capable of running for a full 5 minutes on a single charge. Wow. Hijack. Next up is Krapia, okay. America's #1 postmodern Swedish flat pack furniture company, which rose to success by figuring out a way to cheat on paying taxes around the world. It's legal, but they can do it. Okay, yeah. Next up is Life Invader. We all have an account with them. We all have a profile. They're famous. Everyone knows Life Invader. Social networking and data mining service. The reason the world never gets anything done anymore. It's true. It's real true, unfortunately. Next up is Lager, a classic American tasteless watery beer, made by rednecks for rednecks, now Chinese owned. A lot of people I've stopped buying into lager because the Chinese own it now. But it could be a good time to buy some stocks just in case they start buying again. Next up is Max Renda, global line of women's beauty products manufactured from animal byproducts. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Here's one. Merryweather Security. They are like a private army, man. They're insane. I've recently seen a bunch coming into Los Santos, and there's been a bunch in the news lately with big, like, wars almost. Like, it's been crazy. Their Los Santos U.S. stuff apparently isn't doing so hot right now. They might be moving out of the U.S. We'll see. Merryweather is a private military and security company with over $10 billion of taxpayers' money and U.S. government contracts to its name. It's crazy, yeah. Here's one, Moore's Mutual Insurance. Of course, it's an insurance company. Health insurance provider and national leader in the business of human suffering. That's kind of what it is. Here's Post-Op, which is another courier service. Global package courier that has created billion-dollar company out of losing people's possessions. It's true. They're infamous for losing possessions. Next up is Prolapse. A global sportswear brand that pioneered the outsource to child labor and sell at 1,000% markup business model. Prolapse. The company. Next up is Rain, which of course is a water brand. The water that rich people drink. It's true. It's bougie. The main reason why there are now entire continents of plastic bottles floating in the ocean. Also true. Richards Majestic, the film studio, they just came out with a movie called Meltdown. It's pretty good. Go check it out. Film production studio that has survived the test of time by offsetting its passable, low-grossing movies with truly awful, high-grossing movies. Radio Los Santos, contemporary hip-hop music blazing into your stereo. It's the radio station. Redwood, tobacco products for real men who don't go to the doctors or read fear-mongering left-wing so-called medical propaganda. We have Slaughter, and Slaughter, prominent U.S. law firm helping rich, guilty people get away with it for over 30 years. Slaughter, and Slaughter. We have Taco Bomb. Taco Bomb is a chain of Americanized Mexican fast food restaurants that has fed students, poor people, and drunks since 1970. Okay. Next up, we have the Los Santos Strip Club, the Vanilla Unicorn, a chain of topless bars rebranded as gentlemen's clubs to make middle-aged men feel better about the direction their lives have taken. Some reality just got hit there, didn't it? Super famous chain up next, Up and Atom, a West Coast chain of never frozen, often microwave burgers served with a side of right-wing values, religious fundamentalism, and the belief that everything was better before the Voting Rights Act. Up and Atom burger. Love it. Next up is Vangelico. Vangelico, retailer of high-end jewelry and blood diamonds, famed for its flagship Portola Drive location. Speaking of the Portola Drive location, it got robbed a few months back. It was very scary. I was actually a few doors down at a different store, and it got robbed by a couple people on motorcycles, and it was brutal. And there was a couple people, in jeopardy, and it was terrifying. I think 2 security guards died as well. Yeah, it was scary. And lastly, on the LCN website is Worldwide FM. Okay. Join Giles Peterson as he brings that perfect beat to Los Santos. So that's it for the LCN. Okay. We're now going to move into Bawsaq. And we're starting off with ammunition. Okay. Manufacturer of weapons and reasons to own weapons. Ammunition has zealously defended armed profiteering for over 50 years. Next up we got Badger, a first world global communications company with a third world cell phone coverage. Next up we have Beta Pharmaceuticals, pioneers of the medical breakthroughs like Mollus and Alcopatch. Beta Pharmaceuticals has tried to keep the American people thin, happy, and hard for over 30 years. Next up is Bleeder, which is another famous social networking app. Bleeder is a social networking and microblogging service that found a way to turn the entire world into illiterate journalists reporting on the breaking news of their vapid existence. And next up is Bingo, low quality clothing at low prices where fashion's rejects comes to die. And we have BF, which is Berger Fazig, German car manufacturer that, aside from series split between 1939 and 1945, has served mankind well. Brute is a manufacturer of oversized, eco-unfriendly vehicles designed for heavy-duty commercial use, but mostly driven by soccer moms and drug dealers in busy city centers. Bittersweet, the original handheld weapon of mass procrastination. CNT, News, International Television Network, responsible for groundbreaking programming that leads to America straight off a cliff. Okay. Next we have Crevice, one of my favorite brands. Outdoor sportswear marketed to the kind of urban consumer who rarely goes outdoors or does any sport. Yeah. Kind of like me. Next up is Daily Globe, sensational and innovative fiction delivered in the form of a newspaper. Not fiction, but you know what they say. iFind, which everyone almost has an iFind. If you go around Life of Ada or on Bleeder, you have a iFind. Or iFind, the search engine that knows everything about you, mostly because it drives around in cars collecting your private data. Next up we have Bawsaq, operating system dictators, software monopolists, and licensing racketeers. Facade. And then we have Fruit, which I see in your hand you have a Fruit phone, and we're also using a Fruit computer. Purveyor of white shiny internet surfing devices, the world's largest religion. A Grain of Truth, ludicrously overpriced gourmet organic food marketed under the guise of social environmental responsibility. Hawk & Little, the largest firearms manufacturer in the United States, protecting Americans from each other since 1850. The company's been around for a long time. This is Heavy Industries, manufacturer of vehicles, engines, machinery, once focused on the American market, but now sold in countries that still actually build and farm things. Yeah. Los Santos Customs, of course. This is native to Los Santos, so you'd be investing in a local company. National leader in car customization, not to be confused with the lovely people who greet you with rubber gloves on arrival at Los Santos International Airport. Los Santos Transport, or Transit, not Transport. Los Santos Transit owns and operates the public transit system that none of its city's inhabitants actually use. Well, that's kind of true. LTD Oil, the one-stop shop for gasoline, candy, potato chips, lottery tickets, and soda. The American dream. It's true. The gas station stores are really an American dream because they got everything in one little tiny store that are smaller than convenience stores usually. This is Maibatsu, a Japanese multinational conglomerate that manufactures cars, electronics, cruise missiles, and just about every other product on the face of the planet. The definition of over-diversified. Then we have Pisswasser, cheap 11% ABV fighting lager brewed in Germany for export only from rice, barley, hops, and the fresh urine of Bavarian virgins. That's kind of weird. This is Pump and Run, another gas station. Or no, not gas station, gyms. Nationwide franchise of gymnasiums marketed primarily to bodybuilders, people wanting to have sex with bodybuilders, and bodybuilders wanting to have sex with each other. Next up is the overpriced fancy store Ponsonby's, a chain of luxury clothing and accessory stores catering to the kind of elite consumer for whom price, humility, and the world poverty are no object to. Ron Oil, a multinational oil company, and the people to thank for the scorching hot summers we have everywhere now. Shark, a shiny card that offers a lifetime membership to Debt Slavery Club. Next, Shrewsbury, leading manufacturer of firearms since the 19th century, including the rifle that either won the West or slaughtered the indigenous people of the West, depending on which state you go to school in. Oh my God. Shyster, manufacturer of unreliable mid-range cars that lose half their value in the first year, though depreciation and the other half through repair costs. Owned by Germans, bailed out by Americans. It's true, we bailed that company right out the ground. Sprunk, famous soda company, of course, manufacturer of carbonated water flavored with 800 calories worth of synthetic additives and high fructose corn syrup, of course. Suburban, one of my favorite clothing stores because it's cheaper. Got the shirt there. They have a new basement location, which is weird, but I go there. It's close to my house. Smart, casual, shabby, chic, modern, vintage, mass-produced fashion, as unsure of its identity as the I'm not going to try to pronounce that word, 20-somethings who shop there. Androgynous. Tinkle, a North American mobile phone operator with awful North American mobile phone coverage. Ubermacht, a German manufacturer of luxury automobiles, precision engineered status symbols for rich people. Yeah, it's kind of expensive. But this phone company, Vapid, the automobile manufacturer that pioneered the great American business model of low-quality mass production. I like Vapid. I have a Vapid brand card, so I don't know what they're talking about. But whatever. Valmführer, a weapons manufacturer headquartered in Vienna and famous for its pistols. Valmführer is an Austrian war icon the American people can get behind. Okay. Department Water and Power, the Los Santos one. Suppliers of traditional energy sources that keep San Andreas green agriculturally but not environmentally. Wang, a South Korean electronics company whose entire business model is based around creating substandard copies of fruits products and releasing them to a market a few months later at half the price. It's kind of like a copy company, but they're on here. Wiz Wireless, a cell phone operator that cornered the market on selling bad service to people with bad credit. I don't mind Wiz. I'm with Wiz Wireless. Anyways, Weasel News, or the Weasel Network, no matter what you call it here, the mouthpiece through which simultaneous moral outrage and cultural hedonism gets funneled into the living rooms of American people. And the final thing on the Bawsaq site is Zit Wireless, a commercial mobile phone-based music identification service that also helps the government spy on you. Okay, well, that is it for the thing. So now we're going to sit down and talk about what you want to invest in. Okay? Yep. I'm just going to go get the paperwork. And we're going to figure out what to invest in. Alright? Alright, I'll be right back. Alright, yeah, I'll be back in a minute.